That's right. I don't want this to go too long, so I just want to show you real quick somebody else who's out there working diligently in order to help us out. Is this guy named Louis Rossmann? Let me just bring him up here. Where is he? And he is fighting for you with something called a right to repair. So I'm just gonna play this here, and you're gonna hear what right to repair is.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Today I'd like to discuss right to repair so that someone who has never heard of this movement can understand it better. I want you to understand what it is we're looking to solve, how we're looking to solve those problems, and why those problems are important. Right to repair can be explained as simply as this. Have you ever had your car stop starting and gone to the dealership to hear that it would be $1,500 to $6,000 to fix what was wrong with your car? Have you ever then hightailed it out of the dealership to an independent mechanic and heard it would cost $170 to fix your car, paid them the $170, and then driven on your way with a perfectly working car? That's the essence of what right to repair is about. Right to repair is about having an option to go someplace but the dealer or manufacturer when something goes wrong with your product. Right to repair is something that has often been touted by progressive politicians. However, in my opinion, it's actually a conservative movement culturally. If you look at where the culture of our country was 50, 60, or
All right.
70 years ago.
So he's going to explain right to repair. But this is a Louis Rossmann, by the way. In case I didn't show that. So this is another thing that I didn't know people are out there fighting for. You know, I get an Apple device. I get my Apple device. If I want to do something to this device, jailbreak it or whatever, change out the battery, replace a component, I lose my warranty, right? I lose my warranty for this device, even though it's mine, and I can try to fix it. I don't have to go to Apple and pay, the hundreds of dollars in order to buy. Like my computer broke a few years ago. The keyboard at Apple, they said it cost $800 in order to fix the thing. It costs $1,600 for the computer to repair just a keyboard. And now they're making their devices. Some companies are making their devices in such a way that you cannot repair them. Like you physically cannot. Like forget voiding your warranty. They're making it impossible. They're doing things like, oh, there's a part that's needed for your device that would be super cheap to fix. Well, they're going to the supplier of that part and they're telling them, don't sell this to the public, only sell it to us, and then we'll sell it to the public, and they mark it up like 500%.
Like if you got the battery from the same people that Apple got their battery from, for example, and you put that battery in your phone, the phone would no longer work, even though it's the exact same component.
Or wouldn't be under warranty or anything like that. Or you might
Well,
not even be able
Rossman
to.
was talking about how messages show up on the device and be like, "Oh, this can't work. Like the serial number's not working." Some vague thing, and you're like, "What's going on?" Well, what's going on is the device is preventing itself from being repaired, even if you have not some third party thing, literally the same components from the same manufacturer.
That's right. I bring this up today, especially, Tom. I should talk to you because that's who I'm talking to. Tom, one of the reasons I bring this up is because of all the things that are happening in our world. There's so many fights going on. There's so much stuff in the news. These types of things slip through the cracks. There's so many other things going on. That's why I believe finding upstream problems is the only way we're going to solve things. Because if you try to tackle problems just on their individual level, we're going to be tackling problems all day long. We have to go to the source. Now, one of the things I want us to do is to start valuing these people who are fighting for us. Start valuing the people who are trying to find solutions, that are trying to find ways in order to help out. And so, in order to do that, we have to expand our awareness. If you want to jumpstart your experience to have more to mine from, Tom, you know this, right? The more we learn about life, when I learn about Kiboga or Scamber and Louis Rossmann, it inspires me to what I could do with my own shows, to what I could do with my own videos, like in ways that I can approach what I'm doing. That creativity, in order to be creative, you need to be able to pool from different sources so that you can reorganize them. That's what creativity is. It's being aware of various sources and reorganizing reality in such a way that it produces something new. Well, if you don't know these pieces are out there, if you don't know about Bitcoin or tokenization, which we're going to be talking about later, if you don't understand about the future we're heading towards, if you're not listening to people who are giving you information that are outside of your sphere of awareness, you're going to be stuck. Your growth is going to be stunted. You're not going to be able to expand as quickly or as effectively as you might want.
The sort of experience that people have in school, in grade school and high school, is probably very similar to our own, where in large part you're guided towards seeking jobs that already exist. So they give you a catalog of these are all the jobs that exist right now. Choose one, and we'll tell you the path in order to get there. And I thought that's what it was. That doing anything that's off the beaten track, there's no point because you just end up fighting upstream. You're going to end up broken poor. The two quotes stay in my mind now as I'm really starting to understand how that sort of advice is actually completely counterintuitive. Alan Watts talks about this idea that when he works as a basically as a guidance counselor for a career counselor for students, they'll say, "Oh, I want to do so and so job, but or I want to do so and so task, but there's no work there, there's no money there, and I won't be able to get paid. So I got to choose. I have to choose one of the jobs from a catalog, sort of thing." And he says, if you persist and do what you love long enough, someone will eventually pay you to do that thing. And because as you cannot continue to do something that you love without gaining a mastery of it, and people pay for mastery. And he goes, and if that's not the case, then your life ends, and you might as well, then you're a moth to the flame, and you might as well just end it. He goes, there's no need to fight against that, because to live and or to work to do a job that you don't want to do for the rest of your life just so you can continue to live and do a job that you don't want to do for the rest of your life, that's insane. So you might as well do the thing that you love to do as best as you can. And then the second part is Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson talks about this idea that there are U-shaped problems in the world. There are problems that exist in the world that you are particularly well suited to solve, and you know that you're particularly well suited to solve them, or you're prone to be able to solve them because you can see those problems. There are problems that other people are tackling that I'm not interested in, that I don't even see as problems, and I should not even try to jump into that field. So what happens is that when you and this is where my adventure framework really comes into play for me, that merges value, transparency, and reputation. Value is this idea of solving a problem. You're actually solving a problem. And when you see a problem and you try to solve it as best as you can with your own spin to it, you end up in situations like the Kid Book that we saw, where there is no other scam baiter like him. There are tons of other scam baiters, but there's no scam baiter like him. And people who are interested in that type of entertainment, or like that sort of activism, and like his brand, follow him. And he has thousands and thousands of followers, and he's
He
making
has a
a
million,
living.
over a million now. I
Yeah,
think a million two is the last I checked.
and he's making a living doing this. Now, if he was in school and he said, I want to grow up and be a scam baiter," right? There would have been no path towards it, no understanding. People said, what's
That's
the
right.
point in doing this? In the
That's
same
right.
way that when I used to build websites when I was 14 years old, and I'd be there with a sheet of paper writing HTML code on a sheet of paper and coming home at night and typing it in my computer, and to make what I call a dance in Santa, just to make a character dance on screen. My mom would be like, "Oh, you're playing on the computer," until it came to the point where, oh no, building a website is like a severely required skill. But if you just do what you love, I mean, I'm saying that, but what I'm really saying is that you're solving a problem that you are compelled to solve, and because you're doing it, you feel so satisfied, and so then you love it. You have this mix, this perfect mix of an opportunity that's there, that's perfectly well suited to you. And so I would just do some pushback on what you were just saying before, that um, uh, basically what I want to say is that I'm encouraged when I see a problem build up and build up and build up, and it hasn't been solved yet, because I know eventually it must be solved. Eventually someone, or some peoples, or some industry will come up that says this thing needs to be fixed. uh, Louis Rossmann is one of these people. That guy I've watched for years. I have watched that guy videos for the last 10 years. As I'm sitting there, I'm trying to figure out how to change the letter on my keyboard. That's the guy I'm watching. And now he's there after going from nothing to building up a company in New York, a successful repair shop. And now he's out there and he has the knowledge and the funds in order to tackle this larger problem. I'm encouraged when I see that. I'm encouraged when I see this whole industry of scam baiters that I didn't even know existed. I didn't know the scam baiters existed. I didn't even know the scams existed. There are two. multi-zeros, comma company industries out there that people could get into now that I had no idea existed. And the same way that esports exist, in the same way that crypto tokens exist, in the same way that all these problems create opportunities for people to be entrepreneurial and actually solve them. So I'm hugely encouraged when I see stuff like this.
I am definitely encouraged, but I am not so naive to. I'm not naive. I'm aware enough about history to know that not all problems get solved. Sometimes the solution to the problem is devastation. It's death, right? If the empire gets too large, then they get wiped out.
That's the
They could
solution, though.
kill themselves. Yeah,
That
yeah.
is the solution.
Well, it is a solution, just like the solution to you having a broken finger is to sever your arm. Like,
That's right. If thy hand
sure,
offends thee, cut it off. The Bible
cut
says
it.
that. Yeah,
That's right,
absolutely.
exactly. Said by all the two-handed people out there, but I want to start. I want to create this. I want to be a part of this, infecting the world this idea that it's our responsibility to fix things, and things will only get fixed if we care to support the people who are fixing it. Because I know, like you and I, we were talking about homeless people. Okay, I want the homeless problem solved, but I don't
Absolutely.
have enough time in my life or interest in my life to deal with it on a case by case basis, on a case by case level. Kit Boga can deal with these scams on a case by case. I'm not going to do that, but I can support him, right? I could support the people who support the homeless people. I could support the people who are out there fighting. And the further upstream I can go, the more my contribution will have an effect on what's going on. So I'm not so optimistic to believe that all our problems will inevitably be solved. The Kidbogas and the Louis Rossmans of the world will inevitably come up. They will, but even Elon Musk has got to fight tooth and nail in order to help us. Okay, that's a society we live in. We live in a society where Elon Musk has got to fight tooth and nail and beg to help you. You know
That's
what I
the
mean?
game. That's the game for right now. The rules of the
No,
game.
but
That's what it
it
is.
doesn't have to be
No,
the
of
rules of
course
the
not.
game.
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah, it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be the rules of the game.
But then the
But part of,
problem that you want to solve is the problem to solve is I want to live in a world where it's not an uphill battle to do that. And that's our game. That's
yeah.
stuff you and I enjoy. And that's what I find so fascinating about technology and crypto. Like the platform that Kid Boga is on, Twitch, um, was created for video gamers. Video gamers needed a way of showcasing these games and blah blah blah. Twitch got created, and this platform is then co-opted to for what they call IRL role play, so real life role play. And then in there, this guy says, "I'm going to use this technology to do this." Like something completely separate and completely industry ends up being something that helps a little old lady in Nebraska. To me, it's like, okay, all right. So the goal is direct, like what you talk about all the time, direct attention to where it needs to be. As long as Kid Boga gets enough attention, he's going to be able to continue doing that, and he'll inspire other people to do the same. And as long as Elon Musk gets attention, you're doing that. And so directing your attention, or rather, it's so satisfying to know that my attention does matter. Like it's not like, oh, your attention matters. It's like literally it runs on attention. All the things run on attention. And so now we have a communication platform that a telecommunication platform that as far as we know, never existed before in human history. That to me correlates with if there was ever going to be a time where we solve the problem of getting attention to where it needs to be, well, it's our generation that needs to start doing that. Like, what are we complaining about?
This is how it is. Like if I call Tom and he has time to talk, this is it. This is how the conversations go. That and then a lot of slurs, a lot of terrible jokes. You get canceled like crazy. Facebook never release our messages because we'll totally get canceled.
Yeah, that's right.
But if you want to get a little bit of that, you can join a Telegram group, and you can participate in audio and chat conversations. We'll be a little riskier there, I'm sure. If you want to become a patron, go over to patreon.com/happyforchange. We haven't tokenized yet, so you got to go over to patreon.com/happyforchange.